Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to discuss about an important concept in a programming language, which is exception. You know what is an exception? Exception is an error that basically occurs during program execution, which disrupts the normal flow of your program. You all might have seen you have tried writing different programming, and you people might have end up with errors lot many times. So what are the common errors that you people have seen so far? Just make a list of it. So exception in the sense, it's just type of an error or an error that you are getting while writing a program. So which is going to stop your entire execution of a program, right? Just if you make a small mistake, wrong usage of a function, or if you miss a parenthesis, if you miss out giving indentation, your entire program will stop. So that's the reason understanding exceptions, the different types of exceptions that we're gonna get in a programming is like super important. And also in this video, let's understand what all different types of errors you can expect. And in the next video, I'll explain about like how to handle these errors safely. Okay, hope you are excited. So the first type of error is basically a syntax error. Usually syntax error will occur when the code violates Python's syntax rules. Just look into the first example. What is missing? You have missed giving a double quotes, so it just gives you an error. Okay, so this type of an error is called as a syntax error. You're making mistakes in writing syntax. Because we know when you write a string, it should be written within either single quote or a double quote. Similarly, you are creating a list, but you missed closing a list bracket. It gives an error. Third case, you can see what is the mistake. Again, this is a syntax error. We know that function name should follow the rules that we follow for Python variables. But I'm defining number, so obviously it's a syntax error. Okay, so the next important error, you all might have encountered this error, very favorite error for everyone. Usually, if we just miss something, usually every time we get this type of an error, we call it like indentation error. So we all know that Python relies on proper indentation to define code of blocks. So when you miss to give this indentation, or if it's inconsistent or you missed it, obviously it will throw an error. You can see here I'm writing a for loop, but I missed to give indentation for a print statement. It's giving an error. In a second example, I'm writing if and condition statement related to if I'm writing without indentation, so it's giving an error. Okay, this is indentation error. Next important error is a name error. These occurs when a variable or a function name is not defined or misspelled. Even this happens because we know in Python variable names are case sensitive, right? You define number equals 100 in a lowercase, and if you're trying to call with uppercase, it throws an error because variable names are case sensitive, right? And similarly, when you define function in a small letter and you're going to call it with a capital letter or with a different name. So again, even function name is also a case sensitive, so it's going to give us an error, right? So the next type of an error is going to be type error. Even this you might have seen many a time. These occurs when an operation performed in an inappropriate type, in the sense, what if you're trying to add integer and a string? We all know that integer string cannot be added. It gives an error, type error, and supported operand. What if you try to add list with a scalar value, single value? Again, it gives you a type error. So type error occurs when you try to perform an operation with different data types. Okay. Next important error is a value error. So usually this value error occurs when function receives an argument of a correct type but inappropriate value. See here, I have defined a function in order to receive an input as an integer. What if I try to give a float? It just gives an error. It says a value error. Because this integer of an input is expecting integer from user, but you are entering a float value. So which is wrong. It says that value that you are inputting is wrong, so it's a value error. Next important thing, attribute error. You know what is attribute error? This error usually occurs when attribute or a method reference is invalid for a given object. So we all know that pop item is a method which is used to remove an item from a set, I guess. But I'm trying to use it with a list, so it's giving me an error. Same way, get is used with our dictionaries, but I'm trying to use it with a list, so it's giving an error. A dot upper is used with a string, but I'm trying with a list, it gives an error. when you use your methods with wrong objects. Methods of list if you use it with a set, methods of set if you use it with a list, or methods of dictionary if you use it with a string, it just gives an error. So we call such errors as an attribute error. So next important error is going to be an index error. Let's say, for example, you have a list of numbers. These occurs when attempting to access an index that is out of range in a list or a sequence. So you have only five numbers here, but you're trying to access 100th element, right? So it just gives you like list index out of range. So the next important error is key error. These occurs when attempting to access a key that doesn't exist in a dictionary. See, I have a dictionary here. You have name and place as a key, but I'm trying to access experience. So that key is not available, so it's going to give us a key error saying, okay, that key doesn't exist. Next important and final error is going to be the zero division error. This occurs when you are trying to divide a number by zero. Let's say you are performing a division and unexpectedly what if denominator becomes a zero? It doesn't work. Number by zero is always an infinity. So we get zero division error raised by a Python. It says that division by zero is not possible. So these are the different types of errors that you have to handle it, like syntax error, indentation error, name error, type error, value error, attribution error, index error, key error, and also zero division error. I hope it's clear. So this is all about, introduction to exception and what are the different types of exceptions usually we see when we write a program. So in our next video, I'll explain you the purpose of exception handling, what is try, except, and finally, how to use them, and also will do implementation of these try, except, and finally to, you know, to write a code in a safer way so that we can just ignore the errors. Okay, thank you. Happy learning.